Hi, um, I'm Afi. I am back again with another video. Yeah, so if you're new here, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. So today, the video that I come with today is, as you can tell with the title, it's my struggle with faith. Um, I debated about like what to name this video. Like, am I going to say my struggle with faith? Am I going to, you know, Also, disclaimer before I continue, there's a lot of noise around, and so yeah, everyone seems to be awake at this time today. So yeah, we're just going to have to deal with it. Anyway, yeah, so what was I saying? I debated about what should be the title of this video about, because I sort of got an inspiration of what I wanted the video to be. I just didn't know what to title it, because it's always that thing of like, what are people going to think? I'm not perfect. Everybody thought I was perfect, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I guess it helps that I'm the only one who watches these videos. Anyway, so this video today is titled My Struggle with Faith. And this is just going to be basically like how I got to the place that I am now in my faith. And this is not to say that, oh my gosh, I've reached like perfection of my faith and like my walk with God is like at its best. I just think it's the best it has been for the past couple of years, which is why I'm going to talk about it now. And then probably like a few years later, I'm going to have another one where it's like, from now to then, whatever. Anyway, so I should begin with my religion, yeah, my faith, whatever. Okay, so I was born into a family of unificationists. That is basically people who attend a church called the Unification Church that started in 1940 something, and basically, um, it was founded by a Korean man called Reverend Sun Myung Moon, and it has gone along to spread around the world in a lot of countries now. And Kenya is one of the countries that it spread to, and Congo is also one of them. My dad is Congolese, my mom is Kenyan, so yeah, that's what happened. So that's the family I was born into. And in this, I'm not going to get into like a lot of nitty gritties and things like that, just because this is a very like it's about me. That sounds very selfish, but it's about me and just basically the journey that I have gone through. And so, yeah, so in the Unification Church, there's a tradition of having morning devotion with your family. We call it Hundoke. And so, yeah, that's like a tradition that has been taught since I was a child. It's like you have Hundoke, you go to church on Sunday for service, and yeah, that's it. So, um, I think for very long, like when you're a child, you basically just do things because your parents are telling you that that's the way to do things and that's what you're supposed to do and things like that. And I feel like when you're a child, it's okay. Like it's just one of those things where your parents are bringing you up with a faith that they know, and that's just it, right? So I feel like for a very long time, there was a lot of like I was just doing things because I was told to do things, because people did things in church, because everybody talked about things, and sometimes I wasn't even doing them. It was just like you just say that you're doing them and you move on with your life because, like, that's just how it is. And so there was a lot of that. And then there's this thing about, and I think maybe it's in many churches, it's just about you don't ask questions when things happen. You're like, from somebody, you're like, oh, this is divine intervention, let's all follow it, let's go with it. That's it. So you don't ask questions. And when you do ask questions, everybody's like, what's wrong with you? And sometimes I think maybe nobody even feels that, but it's just that feeling of like no one else is asking, so why should I be asking? What makes me feel like I have the right to ask this question as if I'm better than anybody, you know? So I think that was like a very big thing, for me, like as I was growing up and stuff like that. So the thing about not asking questions, it of course doesn't sit well with me because I am generally a very inquisitive person. So if anybody knows me, they know I'm always asking questions. Like sometimes I even catch myself and I'm like, that's not even my business. I don't think I need to be asking that. Like, that's not my business. That kind of thing. So I am inquisitive, but I also have that thing of like, that's your life, so I won't ask. So it's like a paradox kind of thing. But anyway, um, it's relevant to this conversation because when you ask a question and someone says that's just how it is, then you're left there like, what kind of stupid answer is that you just given me? Like, what do you mean that's just how it is? Like, who says it's just like that? Like, where does that come from? So when I was 16, so throughout my childhood, we go through these things called workshops. They're sort of like camps. Most Christians go to like Christian camps and things like that. So we go through workshops, and it was like every single holiday we'd have a workshop, and we would learn about God, about true parents, we just learn a lot of things about the church, and it's just like that. So it's just like Christian camp. You just learn a lot of things. You do a bit of activities. You connect with other children of the church and things like that. So that's throughout my childhood. When I was 16, I went to one workshop that basically, I don't know why this was so different, but I just remember one time there was a lady giving a testimony, and she basically talks about, of course I'm not going to say who she is, but she talked about having your faith yourself. She was supposed to give a testimony about her life or something, and as she was speaking, she said, I'm not going to tell you about something I did. I'm just going to tell you that it's important to have your own faith outside of your parents' faith. And I thought that was very, very interesting, because I'm like, nobody has ever told you that you have to have your own faith outside your parents' faith. Like, no one ever tells you to do that. All right, so I am back anyway. I don't think you know that I had left, but anyway, so basically, yeah, I was talking about the lady who talked about having a faith for yourself. So that was the time when I decided that I was going to actually have faith for myself and not for my parents. So I was like, everything that I'm gonna do, I'm going to do it for myself and not do it just because my parents are telling me to do it, and things like that. So that entailed waking up Okundoke religiously every single day and going to church every single day. And when I didn't want to go to church, I would communicate that I'm too busy to go to church because I have to do this, this, and this, but I'm going to pray alone, blah, blah, blah. So it was that kind of thing. And I thought, just because I'm waking up for Hundoke every morning and because I'm intentionally going to church, then that's all it entails to know about God and to just be a godly person. But there was a lot of other things I was doing in my life that did not entail living a godly life. So yeah, so that's basically what happened. So that only lasted, I mean, fake things only last for a while, and so that lasted maybe 2 years, 1 year and a half, or something like that. But then in 2018, I had just finished high school, and I was just like, wow, this is like now the best time of my life. Let me enjoy my life, blah blah blah. But so much happened throughout that whole 2018 year. There was a lot of like my friends going to uni abroad, and I feel like it was like everybody that I had very close relations with, everybody that I had close relations with at the time was going abroad for uni, and I wasn't. I was staying in Kenya, and I was just going to study in Kenya, and that was it. And so that was very like heartbreaking for me, and that's just one of the things that happened. And by the end of 2018, I was the saddest I've ever been in my whole life. Until then, I was the saddest I had ever been in my life. So I just remember one day I was so sad, and I was like, there's a YouTube video I had recorded. There's a video of me singing a cover that I had recorded in like, I think July or June, and I found it on my laptop, and I was like, let me just post this. Like, let me just start a YouTube because I need purpose in my life, and this could be my purpose. So I posted that one cover, and it didn't blow up, but it was accepted by a lot of people that I shared it with, and most of my family was like, wow, this is really, really nice. Most of my friends were like, it's so good that you're doing this. Glad that you're using your talent and things like that. And I was like, yeah, thank you. And so that was cool. So I started my YouTube cover channel in 2018 December, And so that brought me joy, but it was also very short-lived. So it was like a semi-permanent thing. It was one of those things where, first of all, anybody who has been on YouTube knows it's a lot of work to one record, to edit. Um, Singing is also like another ball game, because it's like sometimes you'll sing and you're like, oh, that's off, so you have to do it again and again and again. And at that time I didn't even like computers, so I was just one of those people who was like, I don't even feel like editing anything, so I'm just like, I sing, I post, and we move on with our lives, you know. Now that it's like 2020, I think I'm becoming more like, let me try this new thing, let me try this new thing, blah blah blah. So it's much better now, but then, oof. Anyway, um 2019, so then we go into 2019, where I have started doing my YouTube covers, and I've done a couple of them actually. In 2019 I did a few actually. It was a good number. um, with consistency and all that jazz, but anyway. And 2019 was also another very crazy year, and by the time June was reaching, I was like, can 2020 come? I am over 2019. I think I've learned all I needed to learn in 2019. I just need to move on now. Like, I need 2020, and 2020 was gonna be this very shiny year for me, to be honest, because 2019 had been absolute hell. Anyway, of course, the year wasn't done with me, and between June and December, I also learned a lot of things. And I think a lot of the things that I learned in 2019 is what led me to April 2020, when I actually decided to start a true spiritual journey and a true journey with God. Um, so when this quarantine time came, I was in the middle of my exams in school, and our school just sent us an email one day, and they were like, so anyone who's doing exams have been postponed until further notice. Classes have been cancelled. People will, I think, go back to classes online, but the exams, you're just gonna have to wait. And I was so heartbroken, because I was like, I just want to finish these exams and go into my holiday. Honestly, that's all I want. I just wanted to finish my exams and go into my holiday and just move on with my life, be done with second year, because second year was the hardest year of my life. It was happening from like July 2019 up until March 2020. Hardest time of my life. But anyway, so so now, okay then. So now we're on to April 2020. So school has closed, and I'm just depressed. I'm like, gosh, this is so sad. I don't know what is happening anymore. No one knows when the coronavirus will be done. No one knows what's happening, and it's just like, I'm sad. So I had like 2 weeks of just being like, I'm tired of life. I basically just slept through those 2 weeks. I watched shows. I think watched a bit of YouTube as well. It was a lot of like series and sleeping a lot. And then after like 2 weeks, I was like, seriously, I can't just be a bum. I can't spend my life just being a bum. Let me use this time to do something constructive. And that's when I thought about like seriously having like a journey with God, and doing like, and just being like a true Christian, or just being a true, I don't know why I did that, but like just being a true believer and follower and worshiper. And yeah, so that started with journaling. That was like the first thing that I decided to do. I was like, maybe I have too much in my head, and stuff is taking so much space in my head that I can't actually think straight. If I started journaling, I would just write down whatever, to be honest. I would just write whatever I am feeling. And I was watching a video by Ginny Namapola one time, and she talks about journaling, and she was just saying how when she journals, she writes things like dear diary, and she'd keep writing just like a letter to a diary kind of thing. So I was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, because I feel like that was like a very big thing for me. It was like I didn't know how to write, what to write, things like that. But I just think when you start and you move on with it, like it just flows. So I started doing that, and so I did from like 15th April, I think the date is, oh, I did 15th April, then I didn't do 16th, and then I did 17th, and from 17th I have basically been journaling every single day until today, 18th May. Wow, it's been a month, so that sort of makes sense why I felt I need to do this video today. Anyway, yeah, so it started with the journaling thing, and then I went to reading the Bible and reading an autobiography from the founder of our church. So I just went into that, and basically for like since I think April 20th is when I started doing the Bible, the readings. I basically did like a chapter of it every day. Actually, I think I started April 17th. I really can't remember. But I did like a chapter of Proverbs every day and a chapter of the autobiography every day. I finished Proverbs, I think, like a week ago, last week. I think I finished it on like Sunday. Yeah, I finished Proverbs on Sunday or Saturday or Friday. I can't even remember. But anyway, yeah, I just finished it about a week ago, and then I've moved on to Psalms now, and I'm still doing the autobiography because it's long, but it's really interesting actually. But yeah, so I think that's and so yeah. Now I'm just gonna talk about. I just feel like since I properly started to read the Bible, pray, do devotions and stuff like that, and journaling, it's it's been like a really really good time. I feel first of all I feel happier, 100% happier. I think I'm gonna have to lose a few people, but it's one of those things where you just surrender, kind of. It's like you're surrendering your life and your decisions and things like that to God, and you're just praying about everything. Now I find myself praying about every single thing that's happening in my life. Like if something happens, I'm just like, I'll either write it down in my journal because I take that as just like it's like sending messages to God like that. And then I also pray about it and things like that. And on Sunday I had like, I think it was like the most spiritual spiritual, what is it called, experience that I've had. um I can't even remember what exactly I was doing, but I was listening to a song, and I just remember hearing a voice telling me just let go of that situation, because of course there was something that was plaguing me that day, and it was really 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 hard the whole day. But then that night, as I was, I think, listening to music or praying, I can't remember which one I was doing, but I think it was like listening to a song by Hillsong United, I would believe. I think I was listening to Highlands Songs of Ascent by Hillsong United, and I just had a voice saying, let go of it, just let go. And it was so hard. I just remember crying, and I cried and cried for a long time. My brother walked into my room and he was like, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying right now? I'm just like, nothing. Honestly, it's just spiritual stuff happening in my life, and that's very strange, but like it's just one of those things. I've never felt such a strong spiritual experience, and it was just like let go and let go of it, and it was so hard. I cried for maybe 15 minutes, and then I was over it, and then I slept and woke up, and for like 3 days I was just like struggling with it. But I think yesterday was when I woke up and I was like, I think I have finally let go of it properly, sort of. I mean, yeah, it's probably always going to bother me, or it's going to bother me for a bit longer, but it's just one of those things where you let go and you let God, and that's what happened. Yeah, and then basically, when I was sleeping last night, I just had sort of like, I don't know if it was a dream or it was like just a voice again telling me you need to do this on your YouTube. It was like you need to have a YouTube channel. Then I was like, I already have one, but then I think it was more like pushing me into doing this video more than anything. And I can tell now, maybe it's because it's been a month of me doing this, and so I'm a bit excited about that. But anyway, yeah, that has just been it from the time I was born to today. So I hope you enjoyed that. Bye.